All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Bodybuilding News Today. In today's episode, I want to talk about the 2020 IFBB Chicago Pro. So, we are about 4 weeks out from the Chicago Pro right now, and we have a fairly deep lineup already without the official scorecards even coming out. We have quite a bit of solid competitors that have announced that they're going to be doing this show. So, I want to go one by one in detail exactly who has announced that they're going to be competing at this year's Chicago Pro in Atlanta and my thoughts on the first call out. So if you guys are interested, definitely stay tuned. And right off the bat, let's talk about the top two, the potential top two. Now, in my opinion, I think that Justin Rodriguez and Nick Walker are going to be my top two picks. And I do have a dark horse, and you'll have to wait till the end of the show for that one. Let's go ahead and get right into Justin. Now, Justin has been posting actually on the Cement Factory on Instagram. Make sure you go and check that out. But he's been posting some pretty fantastic contest prep photos so far as of taking these photos 4.5 weeks out from the Chicago Pro. And honestly, looking at what he's got going on right now with his physique in the gym and how he looked at the 2020 New York Pro just a few weeks ago, he is definitely going to be my pick for the top two. Now, I like his shape. I like his small waist. I think he has a fantastic set of arms. And if he can just improve his conditioning a little bit more, I definitely think that it is possible for him to knock off Nick Walker. Obviously, Nick Walker being the favorite right now, hot off of his NPC Pro Card win. He's now a new IFBB Open Bodybuilding Pro. There has been a little bit of talk about Nick Walker and his shins. I don't understand why a lot of people are focusing on that part when, I mean, there's so much more to his physique, to his package than those veins on his shins. People are talking about having surgeries to remove the veins and wearing post-surgical socks and a bunch of craziness. And it's really interesting, almost delusional, that some of the fans would think that somebody would go under the needle, under the knife, just to get rid of a little bit of veinage on the shins. Honestly, a lot of people like that grainy, vascular look. But regardless, going over his pictures when he was at Pittsburgh this year, he absolutely looked fantastic. The conditioning that he brought was definitely enough to win the show. Really, nobody was talking about any robberies. I know I did make a video mentioning it because I did see someone talk about it, but that was one very isolated incident. And what can we say about Nick Walker coming into the Chicago Pro, obviously in Atlanta? I think that he has the shape. I think that he has that big, wide, X tapered physique to possibly win his first show ever, his first pro show, something that is seemingly more common than not this year, with Labrada winning his pro debut and now going to the Olympia on his first year of competing. So it's definitely not out of the cards for Nick Walker to walk away. Nick Walker to walk away. I'm terrible. But it's definitely not out of the cards for him to walk away with a win at Chicago this year. I think that if he improves his conditioning, honestly, I'd really like to see him almost sacrifice just a little bit of muscle, maybe, 1 or 2 pounds, just to bring in that conditioning, just, 1 or 2 more percent. Me personally, I like to see conditioning over size. Something in the open bodybuilding class you don't see a lot is crazy, grainy, Frank Zane level conditioning, Munzer level conditioning, any of those guys. You don't really see that a lot nowadays. You see big, full, wide, New York Pro, New York boy conditioning. Big boys, not great conditioning. And it seems to be that that's what's been rewarded in these last, I don't know, 15. So I'm definitely excited to see that transition into more conditioned bodybuilding and less mass monsters. Or even if you can combine both of them, I think that would be absolutely fantastic. Next on the list, we're going to talk about Joe Seaman, aka Coach Little Joe, over on Instagram. And the last time we saw him was actually at the Cali Pro, so not too long ago. And honestly, I really liked his physique. I thought that he definitely could have placed higher at the time, but going over his photos, it does look like that he was holding a little bit of water in his chest, in his midsection, and also in his legs as well. But he does look really good. He did look really good. And from the pictures from Patrick Tour, his coach, he still does look good. Now, obviously, Cali Pro had absolutely horrendous lighting, so it is really hard to measure and judge a physique, especially from uh, the living room chair post show. It's sometimes easier, but definitely in the Cali Pro, for instance, it definitely wasn't very easy. So I'm very excited to see how Chicago turns out, how the lighting at the infamous Chicago Pro turns out. Now it is going to be in Atlanta this year instead of Chicago, so there might be some stipulations. There might be some asterisks to the show, as it looks like most of the shows this year are controversial wins or controversial losses. Almost every show, somebody's talking about a robbery. Next, I want to talk about Fuad Ahmed. Now, if you guys do not know who Fuad Ahmed is, absolutely fantastic guy. I've actually ran into him on podcasts. He has his own bodybuilding podcast, and it's something that I listen to almost on a daily. I absolutely love the content he puts out, and in my opinion, he is or could be a modern day Jay Cutler in the terms of an ambassador for the bodybuilding sport. And from what we can see on his Instagram, he does look like he does have a. I'm just being honest. He does have a little bit, a little ways to go with his conditioning and his dieting. The last time we really saw him on stage was in 2017 at the Arnold's, and for the most part, he did place fairly well. I know he was not happy with his package that he brought to the show. Just kind of going over these photos from the 2017 Arnold, where Fuad Ahmed competed. I really don't see a lot that he isn't happy with, especially on this back double. I mean, the hamstrings look really grainy. You can see those piano strings. And he has fairly good conditioning. Unfortunately, it does look like it's a little washed out in the lower lats department on the rear lat spread. But, I mean, everything else looks, I mean, fairly good. So I'm definitely interested to see how Fuad places at this Chicago Pro. He's definitely going to be among one of the older and most seasoned bodybuilders. He's competed in, I think he said he was going to count, but he was like 30 plus shows. So he does have a lot of experience coming into the show. So I'm really excited to see how well he does, and the conditioning and the package that he brings after all these injuries and all these years off from the stage. And lastly, I want to bring up my dark horse pick, Akim Williams. Now, Akim Williams is no stranger to the stage. He's very conditioned, a very veteran bodybuilder. He's been around for quite a while now. He's somebody I grew up watching coming into bodybuilding, and something that it seems to be a constant issue with him and even someone like Cedric McMillan is conditioning. Now, I remember Nick Miller was talking on his YouTube channel, I think. He was talking about how Akim Williams has like thick skin. I'm not really sure about that, because even on this side tricep shot here from his Instagram, 4.5 weeks out, you can see the piano lines, the striations and separation of his hamstrings and his quad ties in. It does look really nice. So I'm not really sure if thick skin is his issue. I think it's just conditioning. He looks big and full, and for the most part, he's been rewarded throughout his career with a first call out from bringing that big full shape and not so much conditioning. Now, I will bite my tongue a little bit, because if you look at his legs, he does look absolutely fantastic. You can see the feathering on those teardrops. So obviously he does bring a good level of conditioning, but if he really wants to crack into this top three, which I think he can, he's going to have to really bring some crazy conditioning so that we can see his midsection and we can see that chest. Because looking at these Arnold Classic shots, that is going to be the big spots where he looks the most watery. So that's pretty much going to do it for this video, guys. It's kind of nice to get back into talking about bodybuilding, especially open bodybuilding. Definitely one of my favorite classes here. But my question to you is what do you guys think about the top 3? Who do you think is going to be landing in the top 3? Who do you think is going to be at this show? If you guys know of competitors that have announced that they're going to be at the Chicago Pro in Atlanta, comment below and let me know who it is. I'd love to make another video talking more in depth about the complete lineup as we get closer to the show. And like I said, that will do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for coming in and checking out the channel. If you guys enjoyed the video, definitely consider liking the video. And if you enjoy bodybuilding news, definitely consider subscribing. And if you guys want to support me on a personal level, you guys can always go to goldeneranutrition.com and you can use my ambassador code SANCH15 at checkout. And for the 3rd time, that'll do it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.